This is a video that shows how to download and install SourceTree, how to fork a repository on Bitbucket, and then finally how to clone that repository on your local computer. First off, we'll open up our favorite web browser and find SourceTree. So we can just search here in Google, SourceTree, and chances are it'll come up with the SourceTreeApp.com as the website we need to download it. And they've done a wonderful job of making the download really easy. There's also a Mac version available. And we'll go ahead and download SourceTree. Once SourceTree has gone ahead and downloaded, we'll click it to install. Yes, we want to go ahead and run it. Go ahead and hit next. We'll take the defaults and install. Then when we're done, we'll go ahead and launch SourceTree. After we launch SourceTree, we see that there are a couple questions it's going to ask us. Basically, it needs two other programs, Git and Mercurial. We're going to go ahead and download and install Git. It'll download, install, and then we'll do the same thing for Mercurial. Okay, now we've got Mercurial. We'll go ahead and download and install it. And there we are. We're going to go ahead and put in our full name. And we'll go ahead and allow these two and agree to the SourceTree license agreement. Ask us if we want a global ignore file. Sure. Do we want to use PuTTY or OpenSSH? We'll go ahead and take the default PuTTY. And we don't have a default SSH key, so we'll click no on that. And now it's going to ask about connecting to hosting services. Well, let's go ahead and get set up with an account for Bitbucket. We can click on that link. It goes to Bitbucket. If you already have an account on Bitbucket, then you want to log in the upper right corner. It's really easy to not see that and go ahead and try to sign up again. So let's go ahead and get signed up. Alright, I've got my username, I've got my email address, and I'll sign up for free. Then I need to go through the CAPTCHA and fill in a little bit about yourself. And I can choose to go ahead and create my first repository. I don't want to do this. I'm actually going to clone a different repository. But I need to go back here to my other account and go ahead and give it the username password for Bitbucket. It tested and we are up and running. Okay, the next thing that I'm going to do is go and actually try to clone another repository. So I'm going to click no thanks here, and I want to grab a different repository. I'm going to look for pcraven, and I see that pcraven has several different repositories. In this case, I want Program Arcade Games Work. This is for the programarcadegames.com, and it provides a template for us to get started with our programs. So I'm going to click here. They've got new sidebar navigation. That's nice. I got it. And I want to take this code and actually do what's called a fork. If I click over here where the three dots are for actions, and I can actually expand this out and I can see more, I want to fork this code. Fork means I'm going to create my own version of these sets of files and basically fork off in a different direction from what the original was so that I can do whatever I want to those files. So that's great. I'm going to click fork. I'm going to go ahead and keep the same name, Program Arcade Games Work. I could change that if I want. Not really necessary. What's really important is I want to click this as a private repository. I'm doing that because when I work on my homework, and if I don't click private repository, everybody else will be able to see my homework, and then I'll be copied from left and right, and I don't really want that to happen. So I'm going to set private repository. Once we're done with that, I click fork repository. It'll clone it. And there we go. Now, if we are in the class of Dr. Craven, or somebody else's class and we want them to be able to look at the code, we need to send an invitation. Because it's private, nobody else can look at it right now. I'm going to send in an invitation to P. Craven. Since I'm in P. Craven's class, click that, and that's about all there is to it. I don't need to do anything with this. Read, write, admin. We can just leave it at read. Hit share. There we go. We've got it cloned. Now, we actually have this only on the website. We need to get it on our local computer. I can rather easily do this with SourceTree by clicking this button right here, Clone in SourceTree. It says, hey, do you really want to do this and launch a new application? I'm going to say yes. And then it seems like nothing happens. But what actually happens is down here in SourceTree, it has actually done something. It's blinking to kind of let me know. And I'm going to go ahead and open that up. Whoop, looks like I need to open up URL actions instead. There we go. And it's saying that, okay, we're going to clone a new repository. We're cloning from this spot right up here. And where do we want to end up putting it? This right now is going in my Documents folder. I could change this instead and have it go to the desktop. Or if I had an H drive or network drive or flash drive, I could select that instead. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and switch it to the desktop. And I need to create a new folder, quite frankly. So I'm going to go back to the desktop here and hit New Folder. I'm going to call it Computer Science 150. That happens to be the name of the class at Simpson College. You can call it whatever you want. I'm going to go into this. It's a completely empty folder. I need to be in an empty folder. Hit Select. And I'm pretty well set to go. I hit Clone. And it'll work for a little while. It'll download the code and we'll be ready to go. Looks like it's already done. I've downloaded the code. I can click here. And right now it's showing me the changes that have been made to the code. Well, I haven't made any changes yet, so this is pretty much a blank screen right now. But let's go ahead and see what happens when I do make a change. So I'm going to close this. Computer Science 150. And I've got several different worksheets here. I'm going to go ahead and make a change to one of these worksheets. I'm going to double click to open it up. In this case, it's opening up in Notepad. You really want to get a better text editor than Notepad. You could use this in Sublime, Notepad++. You could use the Wing editor. You could open it up in Python's idle editor. There's got to be something better out there than Notepad, but for right now I'm just going to use Notepad. And I'm going to answer problem number 1. I go ahead and do File, Save, close it. Now if I were to go back to SourceTree and open it up, it shows here that something has changed. My working copy, worksheet 1, has changed. And over here, I can see exactly what has changed. Now that I've got a change, and basically once you finish a particular part of assignment, or you can do this as often as you want, it doesn't really matter. Once you've got a change in there, then you need to commit the change. There are basically 2 steps. 1 to commit the change, and 2 to push it up to the server. So I'm going to go ahead and say, okay, this looks good. I want to commit the change. Over here, I've got commit. I go ahead and put in a commit message. It's a really good idea to put in a commit message. It'll save yourself a lot of headache later. And I'm going to say, worked on worksheet 1. And go down here and hit commit. Now, I made a commit. I can actually go back to the original version. Every time I commit, I can go back on those commits. It's like the best type of commit ever. Everything that I've done so far is only on my local computer. I don't have it on the server so that my instructor or anybody else, or if I'm working on another computer, they can't use it yet. So what I actually need to do next is to push. So once you've done all your commits, you go ahead and push it up to the remote server. It'll grind away a little bit. It says, hey, basically this is what you're pushing up there. You could actually have several commits and only just push those commits in one batch. That's fine. I'm going to click OK. And it's pushed up to the server. If I go back up here to the branch that I created and I hit refresh, I can see over here on the right, recent activity, I just pushed it up to the server. You can actually take a look at all the different versions. If instead of working copy you click on default, it shows you everything that's changed. You can see all the different changes that I've made to it. The initial commit of the worksheets, I did some fixing on different worksheets. You can see when I fixed them. And basically with every commit that you do with it, it'll also add a little point to this. You can always go back to earlier versions of the worksheets that I've done and see exactly what's changed and who's changed them. This is really handy when you're working on code in an environment with lots of developers. It's also really handy when you're the only developer. It really frees you up to make lots of changes to the code if you know you can always go back to something that worked before. Because sometimes you make changes and all of a sudden it doesn't work and you're not quite sure why. You can find those exact differences and you can always go back if you really need to. Okay, so to look at the history, you hit branches and default. To go back to look at the changes, you hit this. So you can easily flip between those two. Congratulations, you got your version control system set up, you've cloned a directory, and you're ready to get to work.